Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted, the go-to podcast for those flipping the script and taking the unexpected path. I'm your host, Jessica Bergio, holistic life and business coach, author, speaker, and self-proclaimed high-energy hype girl. Each week, I'm bringing you inside. No gatekeeping here. I'll touch on proven holistic business strategies, powerful mindset shifts that have led my clients through massive transformations, and no BS conversation with industry leaders designed to help you get out of your own way to actively pursue a life of purpose. If you're ready to ditch the limitations at the door, hit follow and get ready to be activated to step boldly towards your big goals. Now let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back to Unscripted, the podcast. It's your girl, Jess Bergio, and today I have a special guest that I recently got to finally meet in person. She came and spoke at one of the Entrepreneur Success Series events that I host here in San Diego. She's also local to San Diego, and we were just joking that life has been lifing, so here we are doing this virtual rather than in person because, you know, life is busy and we want to get the content out there, but at the same time, I know conversations like this are really important because women like Alex are really an example for me, especially, and for many people, I'm sure, in her life, but also her clients' lives, of what you really can do when you are passionate about something and you are focused on delivering and being of service. The energy that she had in the room in person when we had our event was next level. So much so that she, I think, was like the last speaker to go, got everybody up, got us moving around. And I was like, yes, my people, this is what I need. Like, you just want to be in the energy of good people. So that's why my tone is going to be a reflection of how excited I am to have you on the show. So welcome. How are you?
Thank you. What a wonderful intro. And yes, there was a lot of talking at the last event and I didn't want people to feel tired for my part. So I made everybody stand up and move their bodies.
We definitely took into context who we put with who moving forward, because you never know, everybody has a different way of presenting information. And often when people get in front of a room, they aren't always their natural, authentic self. And you don't really know that as the facilitator or the host or the person who's invited them in. So
of course.
I was very happy when it was your turn to share your beautiful energy and to talk to us about what you did. So, you know, you're doing some really incredible things, not only on the mom life front, but also in business. You've been in business for a really long time and you know a thing or two, or should I say a million things and a few others. Let's start with your journey into what it is you're creating, because you've got a couple cool different pieces of your business. And the reason I wanted to have you on the show was because you are a mom, you are a business leader, you are a community builder, and you're an example of somebody who can and does do it all. Not to say that you don't probably cry in the closet every once in a while, but walk us through how entrepreneurship came to be part of your life. Has it always been? Give us a quick playback of how we got started in the game.
Totally. I've recently been doing a lot of more soul searching than normal. And I've come to the realization that my career is a direct reflection of, we're going to go deep real quick, right off the bat. Here we go.
Give it to us.
Being so bullied in high school. I was super bullied in high school.
For being too pretty? For what were you bullied for?
I'll tell you why. Because my mother was always really confident, super confident. I didn't realize that my mother was more confident than other women until I had friends who were insecure, and then I could see it in their moms and how they talked and whatever. My mother would walk around, she's going to hate me for saying this, but she doesn't care. Naked, free, sexy. She dressed up. She looked good. She had long legs. She closed deals. She was the only woman in the room. She was a badass. She still is, but in the work world, she was an absolute force. The room shifted when she walked in. And so I was raised like that. So when I got to high school, I didn't know that you were supposed to quietly bow down to the older girls and tell them how pretty they are. I was like, hey, what's up? I'm Alex. And they were just like, who the fuck? They didn't like that.
Yeah.
So that resulted in some serious, really, really gnarly bullying. But I had this epiphany the other day where I realized that so much of the passion, drive, perseverance, dedication for what I do comes from the fact that I am so welcomed. I am so accepted. I am so revered in what I do. And I lacked that so much in high school. And I never found my place. I always joked that I was the most popular weirdo, but I was the least popular in the popular girl group. I was in the group, but I was weird. I don't know. So I've always kind of been this black sheep middle ground, which again, for my career has been beautiful because I understand, the North County white surfer Christians as much as I understand the like national city street artist skateboarders. I've always kind of like floundered in many worlds because I myself am a Pisces, and I feel like I am incredibly intuitive, and I just can swim in lots of different oceans. I'm comfortable in many. I could be at a gala looking like a snack, looking like this gorgeous, elegant woman, and I could be with my tattoos, smoking a cigarette. Well, I don't smoke anymore, but wearing cutoff jeans.
Were we separated at birth? I feel like we literally you're talking about me right now.
Are you a
Yes.
Pisces?
No, I am a Pisces. I used to smoke the cigs. I grew up in the whitest white of Santee back when it was called Clanty. I moved my ass downtown as soon as I could be around all the tattooed funky kids. I'm covered in tattoos that God knows everyone's like, what do they mean? I'm like, who cares? They were fun to get. Like
Right.
I smoked a pack of cigarettes, because that's the only time you got to take a break in the hair industry. And I also got lucky and I could melt into different things. I never heard it put that way. I love that you just said that that's like a Pisces thing slash you never really quite fit in, but you were like in enough to not be out. God, I feel so seen right now. I hope I hope somebody listening is feeling that too, because that you're right. That's exactly what when I see this obviously social media version of you, I see that because you're so known for that like eclectic, funky, magnetic style that you bring, and your personality can adjust to the room, which is like very rare. Usually you put people in boxes, unfortunately. That's just how our judgy society works. Or you try to fit into a box because you live in that neighborhood or you do that kind of job. But because you get to do such cool things and curate such amazing out of the box shit, like you are so truly magnetic and so interesting. And I just think like, wow, what a superpower now. So you're right. Like, yeah, thanks to those girls and fuck yeah to your mom, because your mom reminds me of my mom. I didn't realize my mom was such a badass either till later. And that's not always accepted. What are you in human design? Are you a projector?
I don't know.
Oh God, you got to look up your human
I
design. I
know, I
wonder
know.
if you
I don't know my IMJD. Like, I'll be on like the dating apps and they're just like, I'm an EQ PT. I'm just like, I don't, for some reason, I don't know. Okay, it's on my to-do list. Next
okay,
time we,
wait a minute. Hold on. Did you just say you're on the dating apps?
yeah, I'm single now, girl.
That's something
Yay.
new. I know we don't have to dive into that, but like I was reading your bio and I was like, wait, that doesn't, I don't think I'm reading what it says correctly.
What does it say? This bitch is now single or what?
It said she came like later came out later in life. And I was like, am I came out of where? Came out of like,
Oh, okay. Well, that's separate. I came out as bi when I was 30, met my ex, who was a male. We have a hetero relationship. We had children together. We were engaged. We broke up in January.
that's who I met. That's right. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Lovely co-parent, just not my forever person, but it's been really fun. I think I'm just single at heart, like, and that's why he and I liked each other because like he was kind of like he had been in more long-term relationships. I really hadn't. I really just worked a lot, partied a lot, worked a lot, worked a lot. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been 6 months. It's been a hell of a self love journey, pulling apart the people pleaser, understanding my just absolute shut mouth for my needs. That has nothing to do with him. I chose a partner that, for where I was at in my life when I first moved back. I was a single mom with my son, Henry. And so, I'm just learning so much about myself and where you meet people at your pain. And even in dating, I'm healing, but I'm also like, ooh, that feels really like that weird feeling that you get when so lots of learning and applied learning in the dating world. I'm taking it easy, taking it slow. I still have 2 kids, 2 businesses, and myself to take care of. So that's like the last priority for me right now, but it's fun.
And that's when it'll happen because that's what ends up usually happening. And hopefully that's yeah, focusing on the things that bring you the most joy and passion, like your kids. How old are your kids now?
My son is 8 years old. He just started third grade, and my daughter is 3, almost 4, and in preschool. And I don't know, there's something about the separation that I could just feel so much more present. I think quite literally because I don't have them part of the time now. And so when I am with them, I am just like alive. I feel like they're happier. I enjoy them more than I ever have. I always kind of felt like I was swimming in overwhelm forever. And right now, I don't know if it's the age, the time, the situation, the world, but I just feel like I'm just enjoying them like really for the first time. Like, I don't know, parenting is always my love is overflowing, but my overwhelm is just as much overflowing. And right now I just feel grounded, certain, happy, slow, good in the mom world.
I am so glad we got to go there. This was like a left turn I didn't see coming, but I literally just had this conversation the other day with a client of mine. We were sitting here chit-chatting about parenting, and she's newly single, has kids as well. And I'm like, you're going to enjoy this season because you're not going to realize how much that break uh, allows you, for one, to appreciate the time you do have, but then allows you to like almost task orient throughout the week, the days of like the persona you need to be. Because when you are running businesses, it's like one day you're a podcaster, right? The next day you're leading a team. The next day you're running like an event. And then some days you just get to be a mom in that season, whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, the whole day, the weekend, whatever it looks like. I always said, I like, man, I'm the world's greatest part-time mom. And it felt like an effed up thing to say, but it's so true because with the overwhelm of having a business and having children and having a partnership and trying to create friendships and have like a life, it's a lot. And it's actually made his and I's relationship so much closer. Him and his dad are a lot closer because he's forced to spend alone time with each of us. And that's so sacred. Like he's almost 14 now. And there's moments where I'm like, God, I'm going to miss these days so much. And I hope that, he'll have his dad to go to for certain things and mom to go to for certain things. But yeah, I love that you brought that up because I think it does help us, especially in business. Not saying we're not telling you guys to go get divorced and have like part-time parenting, but listen, if you're in that, you know what we're talking about. And often, if you're afraid to leave a situation because you're worried that your children will suffer, it's generally the opposite because you become such a better human and you're able to be more present when you're with them. So, yeah, maybe we'll do a spin-off episode. Maybe we should
Me
just do like a
I
what.
would Yeah, I would love to do a spin-off of that because I think there's also there's so many layers to it. What was the relationship like that you were leaving and how do you know when you're ready? I could go on a whole thing about that. What happens to you if you stay for too long and your body starts to break down? I could also tell you all about that. What do you do when your kids are looking at the short term saying, "Are you sure you thought about me for this because I'm in so much pain? I think you're only thinking about yourself." My 8-year-old said this.
Wow.
Trying to explain to them what the long-term happiness and health of both parents looks like. And I'm not ready to say this to him yet, but the potential for him to see me in a safe, healthy, happy, joyful, silly love versus, I won't say the rest, but it wasn't that. And for his father to have the same, I think his dad has changed so much since we've broken up in 6 months. And so have I. I've been freed of so much heaviness, as has his father. And so I know at 8, he can't see it now. But yeah, I could definitely do a spin-off episode as to the tools I'm using. We have an amazing therapist. She comes every 2 weeks to our house and she will spend 30 minutes talking to me and Henry about how the week has been, how things are feeling, and then she'll go outside and shoot hoops with him for 30 minutes and talk where they're not making eye contact. He's a little fidgety guy. He doesn't like to sit at a table. And they'll go play basketball. And I love it because I think so much comes out because they're not looking at each other. So they're shooting hoops, not making eye contact. And she's like, "How'd that make you feel, man?" And he's like, "I don't know." And he can like come out with it when
Yep.
he's not sitting and looking. And you're like, "How do you feel about this?" So yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think also all of this is wrapped up in I am lucky enough to have had a mother and a father who were entrepreneurs to then set me up so that I was financially free, mostly from the narrative of my mother. Because let's be honest, I'm sure many women might listen to this and go, "Gosh, that would be nice," except, and they don't have the luxury, the privilege that I have, that I was able to leave. I was able to go out on my own. I was able to pay for the house because I taught myself a lot about money. My parents were not great with money, but grew up in privilege. And, there's a lot of privilege given to me to get me to this point to be able to make that decision.
Yeah, yeah. No, so much there. I feel like we should have like a sister circle at my space where we all just get to talk about this kind of stuff. If you guys want that, let us know. But definitely, I think this kind of stuff doesn't get talked about enough because it is a little bit taboo and people don't want to say that they're happier when they're separated. But Kai was about 8 years old when we did the same thing and now he's almost 14 and he can see it. And in the beginning would make comments of like, "I wish you guys still lived in the same house." And I think now I am in a healthier relationship where he does get to see his mom getting treated a whole lot differently. And now we're getting married this December. It's been almost 5 years. So thanks. It's interesting because, you hope that for yourself. You hope that your kid gets to see an opportunity for that. But I never really saw that far ahead down the road to know that that could be a possibility. And that speaks to a lot of ways entrepreneurship works, you guys. If you're in a business that feels like it's not providing for you in a way you once thought it did, you've outgrown a season where you were so ingrained to say, this is my niche, this is what I do, it could start to feel overwhelming and like you're not being a good mom to your business. So let's dive into the business side of it because you built such a cool career. And I feel like, again, you're so diverse in what you do and what you can create. How and what came first? So I know you have Chrome City. Like, where did you start in the business of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I lived in Chicago. I moved there when I was 24, born and raised here in San Diego, college in LA, came back and just felt like I was on a fucking hamster wheel. I was Groundhog Day every day. I had this dope car that I bought. It was a Volvo. I lived in Bankers Hill. I had my own place. I had this PR job in Point Loma. And it was like every day was the same. And I just really prayed. I said, like, I need something different. I feel like this is on my heart. Like, I don't know what it is. And long story short, went to a friend's wedding in Chicago. It was June, so I didn't see the cold, wasn't exposed. And when I got back, I just felt really heavy, like I needed to be there. But it felt silly and crazy. I mean, I'm a California. So I had never even thought about living in New York or any, I thought San Francisco. So anyways, I sold everything I owned at the age of 24. I had a great career too. So sold everything I owned, sold the car, sold my bed, sold everything and went with one suitcase out to Chicago. Definitely thought I would just go straight into my career path of PR. Couldn't find a job anywhere. Nobody knew me. So, with my last $200 in my bank account, a friend of mine got me a job at a nightclub. And I, if you know me, am a tomboy. So, even though I've got these big, luscious lips and, these long ass legs, I am not totally comfortable in my femme. And here I was in a little black dress with these bottles and these sparklers making gob shits of money in Chicago. But I met everyone in hospitality. So everyone that owned restaurants would come to this little speakeasy that I worked at. And so that's really the crux of how I started my business, is because I met everyone with my first job in Chicago. Fast forward, I worked at an agency there in Chicago finally, and the owner offered me, he said, we want to retire. I'm a director at the firm. And he said, I really would like to pass the company along to you. And I said, okay, I'm going on a solo trip decided for my 28th birthday to go to Argentina by myself. And I need to think about your offer. It's so kind of you. Thank you so much. So I went to Argentina. And again, I'm very spiritual. And I felt the calling to start my own business. And when I got back, I wasn't sure because it's so crazy. I mean, I was 28, but like in my mind, I hadn't really thought a lot about doing something like that, even though I grew up seeing it. And our best client at the agency that I worked for called me and said, Alex, I hate your agency and I love you. If you ever want to leave, I will be your first client. And I just can't work with the owner of your agency anymore. I can't stand him. And said, but we've loved working with you. And I remember the exact amount of money. It was $3,500 a month. And my rent was like $700. And I was like, ballin' bitch. I was like, that's it. That's it. So that's how I started Chrome City. It was in 2014. So we're 11 years old. It was a PR firm. And I worked with Chicago Cut Steakhouse. Shout out to David Flom, who helped me start my career in entrepreneurship. And, they were a celebrity hotspot. So we had Barack Obama there. We had Harrison Ford there. We had, Charles Barkley, a lot of big sports stars. Chicago's known for its sports. So when it was Bulls season, we had them in. When the hockey guys would come in, the Cubs won the World Series when I lived there. So it was an incredible way to start my season. And I think it's a good, hopeful message for people that you could be at an agency. And even though you're really not supposed to leave with a client, because it's kind of, as a business owner, I would not be okay with that if somebody did that to me. But you never know what jobs also exist within like the brands that you're working with. I think sometimes people in the PR world will go agency side and not realize that you can also go in-house. So always just food for thought there. And Yeah, so we evolved. Instagram came out like while I owned the business. So we started to jump on that train very early and start videography and content creation and storytelling, which we had control over. And in the PR world, you could pitch all day, but if they don't pick up the story and they don't want to, then what are you supposed to do? So I didn't like that lack of control in the media like pitching world. We got some incredible press hits over the years, but at the end of the day, when somebody's writing me a check and we're not getting the press hits, it makes me feel like sick because I know that money's coming from their business and away from their families. And there I am being like an empath, but like I have this saying that I always want to make sure anytime anybody's writing me a check, they're writing it with such a goddamn big smile on their face because it's been worth every penny. So I often teach my girls like, okay, cool, we developed or designed this thing. Let's look at it now from the client's critical eye. And I will look at if I was the client. And so I think that sort of like dual side approach has really been a big part of why we're because I'm able to critique myself and look at it from all sides. But in its current stance, we work with a lot of female entrepreneurs, a lot of designers, and people in hospitality. And we do everything on every side of storytelling from website design to copywriting to social media to e-newsletters to a big part of our business is like setting up partnerships. So I'm a great negotiator. I can see how a hotel would benefit from this pop-up experience. I'll approach them, I'll get it combined. And so yeah, it is hard to describe what we do. That's why we call it a creative studio, because it's really just a solution-oriented approach to creative communications.
I mean, so much strategic partnerships going in there too with who you know and who you're vetting people and putting the people together. Like nothing like being a master connector. I mean, that's what I think changes the game for a lot of businesses and people that are struggling to get started in business in general is that they don't have those connections and they don't have the network and they don't have the maybe even experience to say, hey, these are the things I've done. What would you say to someone new getting into the industry now? I know things have changed. 11 years ago doesn't exist anymore. We're not like brand new on social media. I know storytelling is such a big part of like what you guys do for your both your clients and then also curating the events that you do. If someone's starting out again, like where can they even start to begin when they're trying to hone in and do something on their own?
Connections wise, you mean? Like how do they build connections?
I guess so. Yeah, I'm envisioning the person who would have loved to be that master connector. I have a girlfriend in mind who she was really good at strategic brand partnerships. She would do reach outs to different brands to collab with them. She would create free content for them in hopes to get like some sort of partnership with them. Now she's doing that for clients and connecting them with brands as well and teaching
Mhm.
people how to do that kind of marrying. But it took a lot of like her getting out on the streets, putting herself in rooms, and then also creating those brand partnerships without getting paid first.
Right. It's really hard because I think, first of all, the world is so different than when I was there. Like, I would say if there's somebody starting, I'm sure the way I connected with people and got to know people authentically is very different than this generation that really thrives on an online community and digital connections. Like, that probably is the way. So, my answer will probably be old school. I think that, like, okay, I'll tell you two things. One, the way I did it in Chicago was I never met anyone with an intention to use them for anything. But if there was something interesting about them that I knew could be really cool for something in the future, I paid more attention. I listened a little bit harder. So by no means am I an opportunist, but like I will meet and talk to anyone. But if there's something that somebody says that I'm like, that could be cool to do, like a blah, 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 I will follow them, keep in touch, check in with them, invite them to things because I'm always like a brewer. Like I know one day somehow that will be something. I'm now in a place in my career where I'm in no rush to make anything happen. When I was young and hungry, it was like, can we meet for coffee next week? The next week, can we plan this event? You know, I was a hungry, young lady. But the other thing too is I built this whole thing in Chicago, was incredibly well connected, knew everyone. If you needed anything, and I mean anything, I could figure it out. And then I got pregnant and I had a baby and I could no longer go out at night and I could no longer go to clubs and I could no longer fill in the blank, hang out at Soho House, which is where I met so many people. And I eventually moved back to San Diego, and I was 31 years old, and I had to start from scratch. And to go from such a high place to starting over, even though San Diego is my hometown, I was really starting over. And I didn't have the luxury of going out the way that I had. And the way that I met people, this is crazy, but this is who I am, is I started on Instagram finding people doing cool shit in all different industries: storytelling, digital, design, hospitality, all the things I love. And I decided that I was going to plan my own panel series it was called Hustlecraft. And it was like called The Craft of a Hustler, basically. Like I was seeing these people hustle. And I basically planned my own event. I approached a hotel that had just opened. And I said, we'd love to get some creatives in here. I always think about how does it benefit the hotel, and do a panel series. And that's truly how I started to meet people. Was I reached out to them online. I didn't know anyone. And I said, my name is Alex. I just moved back. This is my agency. I'm planning a panel series. I love what you're doing in this industry. We'd love to have you on the storytelling panel. And people said yes. And big people said yes. And that's probably how I got to know people. So I don't know, it's not in everyone, but like the fearless, relentless, like what's the worst thing that could happen? Like I could say that as my advice, but like that's not really in everyone. Like I don't think that advice applies for everyone, and that's okay. But I mean, I had to figure out a way to get to know people on my terms as a mom, as someone who couldn't go out and drink and meet people at bars and do it the way I did it before.
Well, I mean, I think anyone listening who's interested in entrepreneurship needs to be some sort of fearless and relentless if they're going to be taking the forefront seat of this whatever thing that they're building, because you have to be able to step into that. And I think for those people who don't have that in them, it can be taught, it can be learned. And so working with somebody like you, let's say going into an agency, working for somebody,
Mhm.
can give you that mentorship and that leadership in order to find that confidence because you see other people doing it. And so I find
Yes.
often that the people that I've coached in the past, what holds them back is they don't have that quote unquote fearlessness. They don't have the relentless pursuit to create something. And if it doesn't work, try it again, make little tweaks and keep going. They just would rather sit in the whole, I don't know anybody. I don't know where to show up. I'm not sure how to create community. You've done that exceptionally well with what you just shared, but then also you took it a few steps further and you created your dinners, which have been just like next level. And I cannot wait to finally freaking go to one. I feel like I've missed every one in the last couple of months because of travel. But talk to us about the creative process behind putting the dinners together that you do.
Yeah, so my second company outside of Chrome City Creative Studio is The Blank Table. When I first moved back to San Diego, having worked with so many incredible chefs in Chicago and just created a lot of experiences when it came to culinary. And I have to like preface this all with like the food there is so great because for just about 8 months out of the year, you are cold, and therefore you are creative, cooking, like experimenting. And so I came back to San Diego and was appalled at the food scene. I couldn't even believe how bad it was. I still am like the most annoying person to go out to dinner with because I'm always like very critical. And, anyways, so my really good friend from growing up, Frederick, he's an internationally renowned chef. He actually spent some time as a chef in Chicago. We got to hang out when he lived there, but he and I were playing tennis. And I just, we were talking, and I just said, God, like, he was a private chef. He's like, I would never want to own a restaurant again. And I was like, but what's like going on in the culinary scene? He's like, it's better. It's better than when you were here last. He said, but I don't know. We should do something. I was like, yeah, let's do something. And so we had our first dinner. We named it The Blank Table because we wanted there to no be preconceived notion, no themes, no like gadgets, no bullshit. Like I'm a no bullshit kind of girl, and I think the food speaks for itself, and I want people to come around a blank table and meet strangers because in Chicago I'd be on the train all day with a maid, a CEO, a janitor, athletes. Like I just love that there was never like one type of person I was around. And it was a really hard transition coming back to San Diego and feeling like people were very much similar or the same. So the idea was to bring a diverse group of people around a table, all in the name of adventure, meeting like strangers, and then, trying something different. So it's A 5-course dinner, you buy tickets ahead of time. You don't know the location until the day before. You don't know the menu until you arrive. So you have to be adventurous. If you're picky, this is not for you. I suggest coming either with a friend on a date or alone. If you want to get out there and meet new people, this is a fabulous way to do it. I'd say like a third of the people to half of the last dinner came alone. And we work with and partner with incredible chefs. We have an amazing mixologist and it's all paired. So every dish comes with a pairing. Definitely suggest rideshare because you get pretty boozy, which I love. And we've just created a really beautiful community around the table.
That is so cool. I'm so obsessed. I've known people that have gone that have just raved about it and they look amazing on Instagram, of course. So what does like consistency play in community building? Like what does that role look like? Because I know you've been so consistent with a lot of the things that you do. 11 years in business, Blank Table's been around for a while. You clearly have it down when it comes to like taking something and making it great and repeating it and being like the forefront of like the go-to person for the work that you do for your clients with Chrome City, and then also being known as this curator of amazing dinners plus all the other events that you help people with as well. So what does that look like when, people are thinking like, how consistent do I need to be for things to start to take off? Is it like,
Oh my
I know that
God.
relentlessness comes in play, but
Yeah. I mean, I'm obsessed. I am obsessed. I look only on Instagram for inspiration for our next dinner. I am looking at other agencies. I'm looking at PR opportunities for our clients. I'm looking at ways to position design. It's like my creative outlet, It's like I just love it. But also right now we're doing better than ever, beyond better than ever because I have an amazing team and they were young girls that I mentored and the way that they came on board is because I spoke for my right-hand girl Jenna. I spoke in her classroom in college. She immediately sent an email while I was speaking and she came on. I had no position for her. I was barely making any money. And she was 10 steps ahead of me at all times. And I just created a position for her. She just made my life easy. She has completely revolutionized the dinner. I used to carry tables and chairs with Jason, with Chef. We would be sweating. We'd pull our backs out. We were like carrying in the igloos, the ice. I mean, it was the most laborious thing I had ever done in my entire life, minus childbirth. And currently, as it stands, she's been with me for almost 3 years. I put my lipstick on, take my Uber, and show up. So for me, that is the consistency. It's not just my dedication to showing up every day, it's consistently leading these young women, rewarding them financially, rewarding them verbally, rewarding them with opportunity, allowing them to kind of skip out on Friday afternoons, not caring about the vacation time. And that's hard for me. I used to be very controlling, very, very mean. I was not the same woman I am today when it came to running my business. I was a bear to work for. I was awful. I will say the words. I was awful to work for. But I knew that when I got the second chance to start Chrome City out here, I had to learn a lot of lessons. And I would say that consistency, going back to your question, it comes in the form of constantly looking at all the work you're doing for each client and making sure that it all makes sense. I constantly make sure that I'm doing all the things that are possible right now. And things are so easy. I think like people overthink things. Like sometimes I'm like, it'd be cool if like maybe the restaurant we're opening in La Jolla later this year partnered with La Valencia. I'm just going to call them. I don't make it a whole thing. It's just a quickie. And then when I hang up, if I don't get through, I put it on to call them again in 2 weeks. So I think I'm not super crazy systematic, but I think it's the reminders after to follow through. And it's just follow through, I mean, it's consistency, but it's like, if I've talked to somebody 5 times about potentially working together, I'm still calling them once a month to see how they're doing, to see if they want to. It's just on my list, on my mind. But yeah, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but
You
Yeah.
are, and I think that's the part that people miss is they feel like that people ignore them or they can't get through right away, and I'm like, 1, we all know the fortunes and the follow-up, and people are busy. People want to be asked again, and it might be a no, no, no the first 3, 4 times, or maybe they don't know you. Maybe you have to get into their world and you have to show a little bit of, like, support on their end. I know people
Yeah.
come at me and you, I'm sure, to get on the podcast all the time, and I'm like, "I don't even know you. You've never shared anything of mine on your social, you don't tag me in anything, you've never left a rating or review." Like, we have to create these partnerships of friendships before we go in for the ask or the whatever it might look like in order to have it feel like a hell yes or like I know who you are because you've been supporting me before you came in and asked for something.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people when they're starting from scratch, like they feel like they need to have a lot of money to curate something like a dinner you're talking about, or they need to have the community already built before they can put the event on. I mean, what would you say to the person who's like wanting their say they're brand new to San Diego and they're looking for community as well? Would you say, "Hey, throw a dinner, put something small together, like get a few people that you do know to bring a few people that you don't know together?" Like what advice would you give? Because I know a lot of people are seeking community outside of the online space and really want
Yeah.
that in-person kind of vibe.
No, don't spend your money on a dinner. Like, go to all these like things that people are throwing. Like, just start showing up. I mean, half the people that I'm close with in the social like world is just because we see each other at the same stuff all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I was missing creative mornings for a really long time because my daughter literally had ballet on those mornings every single week. But I'm about to go this month. Creative mornings is incredible. Ramel Wallace is the like lead. He is the community maker of that. They have Claire Johnson speaking this month. Oh wait, sorry, this is running in September. Okay, in August, who is the founder of San Diego Magazine. So there are so many people already doing that that I would say if you're trying to connect with people, you don't have to start your own. There's so many things going on. Even one of our clients is called Rise Up Circle. They're doing a cold plunge with a bunch of girls tomorrow morning out in the ocean. They're just all running into the ocean together. That's what they're doing. So it just, it depends on your lifestyle, but there's so much out there. I think finding those creative houses. There's Erwin Hines, A Future is Color. He just like did the most amazing show at the Epstein Theater over at UCSD with this incredible like jazz and soul band. And like stuff like that, like show up alone. Like there's so many young people looking for community right now. It could be my dinner, which is quite expensive, or it could be showing up at a concert, going to Music Box, at a cool little venue. Finding those cultural makers. There's like, I'd say there's like a lot of cultural makers in San Diego, but there's probably like a solid like 8 mega incredible cultural makers throwing events, creating opportunities, whether it's like the pop-up markets or it's, there's a little coffee shop down the street from me. The name is escaping me, but they do like a meet and run. They like all meet up there. They have a little coffee and they'll go for a run together. I just think that there's so many people doing so many amazing things that, like you said, showing up for their stuff, supporting them, meeting the people that show up for it. That's where you meet the people that then you take it offline, you take it out of the event, So it's like maybe it's online, then it's offline at these like cool little meetups that everybody's doing right now. And then you find your people within there, take that offline, develop that relationship. And that's where the sparks fly for like, what if we did, what there's nothing of, what San Diego hasn't thought of yet? I mean, that's where that really comes together, I think.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so with all of this, I know this is all like so much at times and I'm sure exhausting at times as well, even though you're obsessed with it. How do you protect like your creative energy while you're still showing up for yourself, your kids, your family, your clients, and your team? Like how do you protect that?
I'm learning. I'm still learning. Big decisions have to be made sometimes that are not fun, that don't feel good, but that are in the name of protection of your energy and your spirit. I have very incredible people around me. I used to not. My favorite phrase that I used to read a lot was like, see who comes to water the plants versus who comes to take the fruit. And I think it's the most important thing to actually ask yourself, is this person watering me? My soul is very nourished by the people around me, probably more than ever. Whether it's creatively, like some of my clients, like Paul Basil and Jules Wilson, like they're building a restaurant, and I spend a lot of time with them on their agencies, their studios, and like what this restaurant will feel like, smell like. What are we saying? How does it feel? They nourish my soul creatively. So I'm like nourished in that project. my friends Lisa and Natalie, like, I just know that they think so highly of me. They are the ones talking about me in other rooms when I'm not there and building me up. Like, it sounds silly, but I was in the running for San Diego Magazine's, like, Pioneer in Media and Marketing, which was, like, a huge honor.
Yeah.
And I just went to go get my nails done at my little Kensington Nails and Spa, and the woman that owns it looked at me and said, "Lisa was in here the other day and yelled to everyone, 'Everyone, get out your phones. I want you to vote.'" That's the motherfuck sorry, can I swear? I can swear.
Hell yes.
That is the motherfucking kind of friend that every hardworking, gnarly, grinding bitch of a woman needs. Like, I work my ass off. I am intense. I am not for everyone. I dream big. You have to have friends that will walk into a nail salon and scream to every person in there to get their phones out and vote for you. So, yeah, I'd say, like, it's small. Like, who really, really, really knows me well? I think I'm definitely, like, a public figure, and people are like, "Oh, yeah, that chick." And what I put out on social is who I am, but the people that know my soul and that nourish it, it's a small group, and I value them greatly. And then, I do a lot of yoga and Pilates. That's kind of my thing, and that helps me a lot. I am alone. I love to read. And I honestly, I'm just going to say it, like, I love being a little bit of a stoner and doing a little bit of mushrooms, and that makes me really happy. And that's the whole picture. That's kind of what good people, little giggle, little water, little walk.
I
That's
fucking
it.
love you. Yeah, I don't know about you guys listening, but I needed this episode today, so I'm just gonna thank myself for having my own podcast and for asking Alex to come on today and creating a space where I did start a community. She did come and speak. She did rock my world the day she was there, and ever since then, I've been thinking about having her on the show and wondering if she's got room for one more best friend because I feel like we were separated at birth.
I
Oh my
love you.
gosh. Listen, so let's leave one more piece of advice for anybody who is in that creative space, who's ready to stop kind of like hiding behind their
Mhm.
gifts. Maybe they were teased. Maybe they are still playing small because they feel like, what will people think if I start to put my weird creative ideas out there? What if I did ask a few people to get together for coffee and a run? Like, how do we help somebody right now listening, like fully own their vision to step into it? Do they need to start doing mushrooms? Do they like, what do they need?
Maybe. I don't wanna be responsible for that, though. Some people, it's not good for them. My best
No,
friend is like not she's like, "This not for me."
I know.
See, it's like create a challenge for yourself. Give yourself 60 days to be as weird as humanly possible. Say the thing you want to say, put it out there, and see who finds you. I can guarantee your people will find you. There's no question asked. And if the idea of just simply putting yourself out there feels scary, then just give it a 60-day thing. 60 days, I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to talk about the books that I read. I'm going to talk about the things that I take that make me feel good. I'm going to talk about the way I like my coffee, the way I like my women. Like, I don't give a I think you should just be like I'm like all in all the time. What are we doing in this world if we're hiding? Like, you're going to wake up one day. That's like people's biggest regret when they're on their deathbed, that I wasn't really my authentic self, that I didn't really speak my voice. Like, Google right now, what are people's biggest regrets on their deathbed? I promise you it's mostly around the hiding. So live your life and give yourself a little bit of a challenge. Like, be around people that are really outgoing like me. Don't tell yourself you're not worthy of being around people like that. Be around them, watch them, let them inspire you. And, talk about what makes you feel alive. It doesn't matter if it's film or if it's cannabis or if it's corn or water. It doesn't matter. Like, people want to see people come alive. So come alive around the things that make you come alive, and your weird people will find you. I'm weird. I'm very weird. And I feel good.
I love it. I'm a weirdo too. People know that too. I get mistaken for being a bitch all the time. And I'm like, I'm either for you or I'm not. And I'm fine with that. That's why this show is so freeing, and to be able to like have the conversations you want with the people you want about the shit that you want to talk about. That's why I'm passionate about podcasting, because I'm like, literally, you can talk it to the ethers and like totally be yourself. It's the
Totally.
best, I think, expander for me. And it's helped me find my voice and connect to that and be able to have these amazing conversations with women like you that otherwise, like, I wouldn't get to grab coffee with you because you're fucking busy. I'm busy. So here we are podcasting for you guys. If you guys took anything away from this episode, please let us know. Take a screenshot, share it on social media. We love a good little reminder that we helped move you, shift you, give you a new perspective. Maybe start a challenge. I don't know. Let us know what that's going to look like for you. But
It's
you can
called
find Alex.
the weirdo challenge.
Yes, hashtag weirdo challenge. And you can find Alex on Instagram. I'll tag all of her good stuff down below in the show notes, her website, how you can work with her. And if you're interested in local Or if you want to fly into one of the blank table dinners, I highly suggest it. If you are looking for high level branding, website, all of that kind of stuff, you can find all of those good things on her website as well. Alex, you are a amazing person. I'm so grateful to know you. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm sure you rocked everybody's socks and they're like, wait, it's over. I want more. I want more. If you guys want
my podcast Wild and Wise if they want more.
Yes, go listen to her podcast too, because she's just the best. And we should probably do a spinoff on like the parenting thing too, because I know that there's a lot of people on here that don't get to hear enough about that.
Yeah, it's taboo and it shouldn't be. Thanks for having me.
It shouldn't be. Absolutely. You guys will see you on the next episode of Unscripted. Take care.
Giving back is easy. Leave Unscripted your 5-star rating and written review. I appreciate your support more than I could ever put into words.